Another aspect to findings in Dradis is evidence. So to explain the difference between issues and evidence, if you have a finding, let's say SQL injection, then the issue is the description of the finding itself. So the issue would be SQL injection. Now, as the title, it might give a severity rating, description of what it is, possible solutions, references for more information, and so on. A piece of evidence then is an instance of where that issue has actually been found. So if you have a project where you scanned 20 hosts and found 4 cases of vulnerabilities to SQL injection, you would have one issue, SQL injection, and you'd then have 4 pieces of evidence as these instances of where it was actually found in your project. Now, evidence is optional. You don't have to use it, but you can. Same as with issues and other parts of your projects. You can define your own fields as you want, as many or as few as you like. So you might only have a location and output field, for example, or you can have many more items like steps to reproduce, screenshots, and so on. So as a piece of evidence is an actual instance where an issue has occurred, evidence is associated both with an issue and with a node. So if we look at the nodes we have here, we can see the evidence for each of the different issues we have defined here under all issues. So there's multiple ways of adding evidence. Let's say we want to open our sample issue here. You can add multiple pieces of evidence at the same time from the issue itself here under evidence, add new. Then here you can bulk add evidence. So here we've chosen to pull the new evidence content as the default for the template, which means the evidence fields which are defined in your report template properties. You can also have just a blank field, or you can use the evidence template that you've defined from the main interface of Dradis. So in this case, let's use the default for the template, which is location and output. And then we choose some nodes where this evidence appears. So let's say these 3 nodes, for example. So once that's done, just click Save Evidence. And then if we go to one of those nodes, we can see we have the evidence for the sample issue here. Now, of course, this throws an error here because the fields are blank. And the fields are blank because we bulk added. So in that case, you would go to this piece of evidence and edit it, and then put in some values. So let's say TCP80 as location, and then sample output here. Update the evidence, and you're done. You can also, of course, add evidence directly to a node. So in that case, you'd pick a node, and then you click on the plus sign next to evidence here, then select the template to use for evidence. In this case, we use the default for this report template. Then we need to choose the issue that we are associating this piece of evidence with. So this is our sample issue. And again, just fill out the values that you need for this piece of evidence. So in this case, location and output, and you put the same values. Create the evidence, and you're done. Now, different plugins work with evidence in different ways. So if you're uploading, for example, Nessus files or burp files or so on, then they can work with evidence, but they offer some different fields that you can work with. And as usual, you can see that data from the plugin manager. So if we click on Nessus here, we see this is the evidence template. It's pre-configured here to use location and output. But if we click on the list of available fields, these are all fields that you can use from Nessus within evidence. Note here that burp works a little bit different from the other plugins that we work with, in that burp chooses not to put severity for an issue on the issue level. Instead, burp places severity at an evidence level. So in the issues template for burp, currently we don't have a way of displaying CVSS score or severity, for example, pulled in from burp data. That lives on the evidence template. So we click on the available fields here, you see the severity is here, available on the evidence level. It's also present here. So just something to bear in mind. Again, evidence is optional to work with. Define it to either pull in data from your plugins, or you can update it manually as you like.